Hi folks, just recently got back from Tenerife where I had a couple of weeks holiday and time of refreshing, if you like. I took some videos of Tenerife. I don't know what it turned out like. The quality doesn't seem too good to me, but it's on the website anyway. Hope you enjoy it. You know, sometimes I get disturbed when I hear Christians say that we can only know God by faith, and there's really no evidence that we can use to pin our faith on. Well, of course, this is utter rubbish. I mean, what kind of God would ask us to blindly believe that he exists and that his word, which we believe is the Bible, is true? What kind of God would ask that kind of question? Ridiculous. How can I hang my coat up if there is no peg to hang it on? All I do is hang the coat and it just falls to the floor because there's no peg there. And so there's got to be a peg in order to hang a coat up. There's got to be a peg to hang our faith on. So in today's video blog, I just want to briefly outline 3 sources of evidence that God has given us that he exists and that his word is true. It won't be a lengthy study, but a brief outline. In the days of ancient Israel, God made the statement that Israel itself would be evidence to all the nations that his word is true. I will look at 2 prophecies very briefly with regard to this. The Old Testament spoke of a time when the nation of Israel would be scattered throughout the world for a long period of time, and that after this period of time they would be brought back by the miraculous hand of God. That was the first prophecy. The Old Testament prophecies also said about the land itself, not the people, but the land of Israel, which has always been described as a land flowing with milk and honey. But the prophecy said that it would become, the land itself would become a desolate wasteland during Israel's absence and until their return. 2 very, very specific prophecies that, unless it comes from God, I doubt very much if those 2 things could happen. In AD 70, that's 70 years after Christ, the Roman general Titus attacked Jerusalem. Thousands of Jews were slaughtered, many more escaped to Western and Eastern Europe, and eventually, as we know, they went throughout the whole world, the 4 corners of the earth, which is what the prophecy said. Shortly after this, by some strange reason, the land of Israel became a wasteland. Isn't that incredible? According to the prophecy. It was destroyed by earthquakes and plagues of locusts. For 2,000 years, the only people that lived there were Turkish military garrisons during the Ottoman Empire, and certain nomadic tribesmen that would pass through the land. And of course there were some Jews, a small Jewish, or several small Jewish settlements were there, continually funded by their rich European brethren, the European Jews. At the turn of the 20th century, the earthquakes mysteriously ceased. The locusts mysteriously vanished. The land of Israel began to mysteriously flourish again. Isn't that incredible? Thousands of Jews returned to the land as a result. And then after the Nazi Holocaust, millions more returned to the land of Israel. And by May 1948, as most of us know by now, Israel became a nation once again in a very short space of time. Wow. Now, sociologists tell us that when people migrate to other countries, such as the Irish did during the potato famine, they went across to America, that after the 3rd generation, they no longer relate to their place of origin. They absorb their new place of where they live. But this never happened to the Jews. Incredibly, Israel remained their home in their hearts. Why is it important that we should know all this? Well, simple. Everything that was prophesied about the Jews has happened, just like God said it would. There would be a sign to the nations, all the nations, that God exists and that his word is true. And everything that he prophesied about them, or was prophesied about them, has happened. It could not possibly have happened by chance, but by design of a supreme commander who is God. Furthermore, the death and resurrection of Jesus, abundantly evidenced in history by the biblical account, but also by non-Christian historians, is also evidence to us that there is a God and that God's word is true. The perfect order of the universe, which makes it a friendly place and a welcoming environment for us to live in, which, by the way, baffles the evolutionary scientists, is also evidence to all of us of a creator God. You know, folks, there's so much evidence around us to validate the Bible that the Apostle Paul later wrote in Romans 1 chapter 20, they have no excuse for not knowing God. They have no excuse for not knowing God. But although the evidence is staring us in the face, many folk choose to ignore it. But you know, we ignore the evidence at our own peril. So folks, if someone tells you that there is no evidence or proof that God exists or that his word, the Bible, is true, don't listen. It's absolute rubbish. Here's my challenge to all of us. Why don't we do a little research? In fact, I've done quite a lot of research on these subjects. There are so many good books on sale these days that deal with all these issues, from creation to the history and the prophetic fulfillments. So many books that we can read. Maybe sometime I'll get a list of some good books and I'll publish them on the website. But in the meantime, I hope this little video helps you. There is ample evidence that there is a God, folks. Don't let anybody kid you to the contrariwise. There is evidence, an abundance of evidence that there is a God and that God's word, the Bible, is true. Okay, folks, bye for now. Have a nice week. God bless you.